Hello, my name is Jesse, and welcome to Only Fails. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.
You've had some struggles with investment properties. What happened there?
Where do we start? Bad advice from experts, not trusting my own gut, so letting people get inside my own head and get me to talk myself out, psych myself out of things that turned out to be amazing, awesome properties, and I let those opportunities go. And that's my fault for letting folks psych me out. The worst case could be a realtor using their clients to scope out the best investment properties, telling them they're bad deals, and then scooping them up on the back end. Because I'm not going to go look at a bad property, a property that's a bad deal. And that's perfect for a realtor that's got 14 investment properties already. They just crowdsource. But it probably wasn't malicious. It was probably just incompetence. There are, too many experts. Anybody can go be a realtor in 3 months, 6 months, get your realtor license, go where the market's hot, and try to sell houses, right? Buy, sell, whatever you want to do, and claim they're the expert, and you're not going to know. So who do you trust, right? Trust yourself. That's the biggest lesson. And if the numbers work, and if people say it's a bad idea, it's probably a good idea, because that's just the way it's been working out. And then you've got tenants, right? You've got things that you can't control. There's weather, there's maintenance, there's just all sorts of things that can go wrong. And you can't even think of them ahead of time. You just have to hopefully have enough cash on hand or have the skill set to be able to learn it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but things are going to come up that are unexpected. And we'll get to that later. We were just talking about it. Just incredible things. How did this even happen? You can't even make it up, because just people, they wouldn't believe you. They'd be like, that didn't really happen if you told them. But if you say, no, that's some of it's dumb, some of it's easy, but the challenges are real and they cost a lot of money. And if they don't cost money, they take time. Usually it's both. And it's almost always the landlord's fault, even if it isn't. We get blamed. And that's just the responsibility of taking the risk and being able to reap the benefit and reap that reward. I'm certainly glad I'm not doing this in California, because it's hard to be a landlord or do a lot of business in California. It's just the way it is. And what I'm finding out, though, too, is money changes people. And really, does it change people? No. It just makes them more of who they are. It makes them a bolder version of themselves. And a lot of people are ugly. A lot of people are bad. A lot of people are mean. And everybody forgets. Customers forget quite often. And I suppose maybe I've done this too. But when you give a lot of stuff up front, you don't charge the pet rent. Maybe you give a rent discount. I had one tenant pay 12 months in advance. I didn't have to give them a $100 a month discount, but I thought that was the right thing to do. But whatever the right thing is. And what else? There was something else. No pet rent, no pet deposit, $100 off a month for rent. And on the tail end of it, they were just assholes about the security deposit. They left the place trashed. They played dumb that, I didn't know we had to clean it. What do you mean we had to clean it? You told me I didn't have to clean it. I said that I would get professional cleaners if you don't. It's just all the nice stuff we did up front. Customers don't give a shit on the back end. And I'm learning as I go. Growing up poor, I don't have any mentors. I don't have anyone's lead to follow. I'm figuring this all out. So the School of Hard Knocks, I'm paying my tuition not in college, but in experience. And it hasn't sunk me, but it hasn't been all. There's been a lot of failures along the way, a lot of learning. And I think that's what we're kind of here talking about, right?
So real estate investing is not passive.
It's work. But you can either front load the work and do a lot of research, and it'll make all the rest of the work easier or more profitable, so you can just throw some money at it and it just makes it less difficult. Or if you don't do your research and your homework up front, you're going to pay for it down the road and for a very long time, and it could absolutely end you. So there's work, and it just depends on where you want to pay for that, where you want to spend your time, where you want to spend your effort. And you can still make mistakes. You could still do everything right or think you did everything right. You can totally still screw stuff up. So, and that's going to happen, especially if you've never done it before. And even if you do everything right, there's things you can't even anticipate go wrong. And a lot of realtor folks, they're not sharing what goes wrong. And a lot of the laws aren't in your favor either. And it is what it is. It's, I think that some of the laws are good and they're there for a reason, like, employee protections, tenant protections. It's for people, they're there for a reason because there were issues, right? So, but it seems unfair sometimes. And I'll just jump the shark a little bit. The stair railing is missing in one of my Section 8 properties. It passed inspection last year, and I was just re-inspected about a week ago. And it failed inspection because the railing for the stairs from the first floor to the second floor, they're gone. How does that get lost? It was there last year because it passed the inspection and the same guy came to inspect it, and now it's gone. The railing that you put your hand on, right? And you go up and down the steps, and where did it go? I found out from the inspector, not my tenant, and the inspector says this is the requirement of the owner to replace, and the onus or the expense is on the owner to replace this and put it back together. I didn't lose the stair railing. As far as the law says, it's tenant duty to take care of the property, to a reasonable extent. I would say not busting up stair railings or having stair railings go missing or scrapping or whatever. I would argue that falls under the tenant duty of taking care of the property, not putting holes in the walls and stuff like that, right? Well, I got to jump through the Section 8 hoops. It's not fair. I don't think it's fair. And that's subjective. But yeah, that's just one of the difficulties. We're working it out. I got a month to figure it out. It's just funny though. Stuff that I couldn't even make it up in a story that a stair railing goes missing. I get it. Maybe they took it off to move some furniture or something and then they didn't put it back even. But I don't know. I'm not there. It's a remote property, which is a challenge. It's in a different state that I took upon myself. It's where I grew up. I know a lot of folks out there. I know a lot of contractors. I have a lot of contacts, and they're good people from the Midwest. They shovel their own snow. They don't have any entitlement, although it's Section 8, so they get everything paid for free. So they don't actually do anything. But anyways, there's just little things. Don't get it twisted, I'm not complaining. It's just interesting, challenging. It's a learning experience. Some of it's not fair, and that's just an example. Subjectively, I don't think it's fair. The landlord has to pay for the stair railing that was there in good condition that was lost. That's just an example. Let's go to the next question.
All right. Besides the stair railing, what else have tenants done to your properties?
They trash everywhere. Pushing out screens. I haven't really had a lot of bad stuff. Stained carpets, not a big deal. They clog the toilets and then they play dumb. They're like, oh, it's just not flushing like it used to. Well, why is that? Oh, I don't know. It just doesn't work like it used to. Fixing a toilet 3 times in a year. It's like, you guys dancing on this? Or like, you having parties? I don't know what's going on. And they're not telling you the whole story. There's like a 6-year-old learning how to lie. Oh, I don't know what happened. And turns out like they flushed the toilet paper roll, the little springy thing that falls down, or that holds toilet paper roll, and they got flushed down, and yeah, that was the clog. But it's like, you knew that. Come on, you knew that. Don't piss on my neck and tell me it's raining, but they do. Customers lie to you, tenants lie to you, and what sucks is business people and contractors will lie to you. They lie to me, and the business I do, I really, really try not to lie to people. I try to really do honest business. That's what gets me business and keeps business, and it sticks. like being a salesperson, if you're lying to people, you're going to get your chargebacks, they're going to come back. But if you set the expectations up front, everyone knows what they're getting, everyone knows what they're agreeing on. But most contractors actually don't do that. They're fly by night, or they're just good at getting your money and doing a crappy job. Look at all the home inspectors, social media things, and the new construction in Arizona and stuff like that, or anywhere, and you'll see that they're not even up to minimum standards. And the contractors lying to the tenants, contractors are lying to the landlords, landlords are scumlords, and the tenants are lying to the landlords, and they're lying to the contractors. I don't know how this happened. I don't know why the toilet's clogged. Nobody's helping anybody. We're all in the dark. And some of us are actually trying to figure it out, and for different motives. It's an interesting interplay of politics and dynamics, and it's silly. What's some more bad damage? HOAs suck because they just up the fees and they up the fees, they up the fees. A lot of times they don't give you anything out of it. They don't shovel the snow. They don't mow the lawn. They landscape, but they put shade plants in the sun, so they just die. So then they have to be replaced, and we're paying for that out of the HOA. It's stupid. It's hard to get rid of HOAs. And then banks and FEMA and the flood insurance, construction companies and not doing their warranty work and gaslighting you. It's my neighbor had the wrong floor installed, and it was also not level. Like, it was from one side to the other. Like, you drop a marble and it goes, and they refused to replace it. So you got the construction people and the contractors lying to you. You've got HOAs and the good old boy system and their backroom deals and doing it with their cousins and getting commission and kickbacks and this and that. Or just you get incompetent contractors. 9 out of 10 are good at getting your money. 1 out of 10 are good at doing the good job. The banks, I know that I'm in a FEMA floodplain. Right after I bought it, it was the first place I bought was my investment property. Well, I just bought a property here in Boise because housing prices were crazy. And I'm like, if I don't buy it now, I'm not going to be able to afford anything. And that's exactly what happened. And I was trying to buy properties before, but it was the experts telling me, my old realtor, oh, this is a bad deal. This is a bad deal. Oh, a 4,000 square foot property on the top of a hill. You don't need all that space. And it's just a bad deal. It was only $330,000 in 2016. That whole street is going for $800 right now in 2024. And but don't know, it's a bad deal. 3.5% interest rate, $200 a year HOA. Oh, just a bad deal, Jess. And that's my fault for talking myself out of that one. But yeah, flood insurance, extra $100 a year. HOA, that's $220 a month. Just these, and then whatever the tenants do, VPs, they don't lift a finger. They don't know how to wipe their own ass because they got everyone else doing stuff for them. Vice presidents, right? I had a vice president of a large company, Fortune 500, living for a number of years, and didn't know how to clean the lint trap and would complain that the dryer's not working. And if I wasn't there, because I was traveling as a subcontractor around the world, I'd have to call someone to go do it, to go check it out, and there would be nothing wrong with it. Washing the washer and dryer. So these are all just nickels and dimes, right? And these aren't huge $35,000 expenses and, houses full of cat piss. That is just, you can't even stand it in the room. You can't, they had to replace the floor and the subfloor and everything. But all these little nickels and dimes, and I'm waiting to get hit with something like that. I knew the old properties in Wisconsin have a lot of, I think they're iron pipes, and so the sewage that goes down, like all the sewage from the house and goes to the sewer pipes, they're rusting all the way through. They're ticking time bombs, and to replace that whole spiel is like $15,000, right? To pull out all the thick pipe in the basement and then put it all back and retrofit it. And contractors are just getting more expensive. They're at least $120 an hour. Plumbers are like $200 an hour. And then if you've got clients lying to, and I get that, that's part of my maintenance as my responsibility as a landlord to fix those things. That's the risk versus the reward. But then when you've got tenants lying to your face, you got contractors lying to your face, no one's actually trying to help you. Nobody talks about that. And nobody is giving advice on that. Or maybe they are. I haven't seen it. But that's what we're talking about here is you got to go through you get ripped off a lot. before you find someone good. You got to do a lot of rework before you find someone, even in brand new construction, right? Like it's not that it has to be perfect. It has to be, no, it has to be a minimum standard. But you've got unlevel floors, or you've got like missing tiles, or you've got leaking roofs, or you've got like patios graded towards the house instead of away from the house. So all the rainwater goes to the house, right? That's not right. It's not okay, but it's happening all the time, and nobody's held accountable for any of this, or it's hard to hold people accountable. I know in Idaho, we don't have licenses. You don't need a license to run your business, so there's no license to take away. So you can just fold up your LLC, and get sued and go bankrupt because you did a bad job, and just start a new one, a new LLC under a different name, and you limit your liability. You don't lose a license because there's none to get. So it's not like they're not going to give you. So isn't that accountability where we're not going to give you another license because you lost the first one. No such thing. So they just keep doing it again and again and again, and the world keeps going around, and they've been successful with that business model. Why the heck would they change, right? And how are we supposed to know any better? Oh, there's online reviews and stuff, but it doesn't always work. It doesn't always help. And sometimes unscrupulous business owners give themselves their own reviews. And how are you supposed to know the difference between that? It's tricky.
Given your experiences and some of the negatives you've highlighted, do you plan on being a landlord for the rest of your life?
As long as it's profitable, as long as it makes sense. I'm in it for the long term. Absolutely. So I'm in it for the long term. So I'm thinking ahead with all the properties, and I wish I could just scale them out faster. It's hard to do that. I had an opportunity that I should have picked up. It was an apartment complex in Wisconsin for $500,000 right in the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. $500,000. It was like 34 units, and they all had their own single. I just didn't want to spend a few years in Wisconsin and fixing all that stuff up. I'm probably regretting that now. Or maybe I'm not. Is it the apartment complex that anyone else would be like, what? You didn't take that up? And I think about that quite often. Shoot, what was the question again?
Do you see yourself being a landlord for the rest of your life?
Yes. I'm diversified, yes. So I'm going to keep my rental properties as long as they're profitable. And I was just looking at Zillow before I got up here, and on my street that I live on now, there's a house apparently that's been for sale for a while and nobody's bought it. It's been on the market for like 134 days. So either that's a mislisting, like it's actually not for sale, because I haven't seen any signs or any realtors. But if it is, I might trade up one of my properties to get into that one, because it's a long term. And then you've got your stocks, your bonds, your investments, stuff like that, your crypto, whatever it might be. So then you're diversified there. You've got your W-2 job, your wage slave. If you don't have a business that you're also able to dedicate your time to, which I have those as well. So it's, you've got your landlord investments, your real estate, stocks and bonds, you've got your W-2 jobs, and then you've got businesses, which are usually you take the trade that you've been very good at, or you've been doing for a long time, and you try to be a sole proprietor instead, right? Do an S corp or an LLC and break out on your own, and then you can do whatever your hobby, your side hustle is, if you get good enough at that as well, and then whatever else we can't even think of, right?
If somebody wanted to do real estate investing right now, what would be your advice to them?
Do your homework, look at the market, and trust your gut. And it's really simple math. Just make sure the numbers are going to work. And if the numbers work, don't let anybody talk you out of it. Don't talk yourself out of it. If folks think that it's probably not a good idea, it's probably a fantastic idea. That has happened to me. At least that's the story of my life. So follow the narrative of your life, whatever works for you. If you have really wise mentors, you've got folks that really know what they're talking about. I found those closest to me always shut down and shoot down my ideas, and they're not supportive of it. But we grew up poor, right? And so we have I come from a very defeated mentality. I come from a very poor mentality where we can't afford things, we can't do things. It's I can't. That's not possible. What if something goes wrong? Well, what if it does go right? What if it works out? And that's what you're trying to do. That's what you see. People have sight, but if you have the vision, go for it, and don't let anybody talk you out of it. And just make sure you do your homework. That's the big one. Make sure you do your homework, and make sure you save up a little bit, have some cushion, be able to weather and withstand the unexpected. And the more work you do yourself, the cheaper things will be. So if you're able to see what your synergies are. So if you're getting into real estate, are you a handy person? What can you do yourself? Or are you really good at marketing? Or really, it's the handy stuff. It's the landscaping. It's concrete. It's paint. What can you do on your own to reduce your expenses, which is part of your homework. So find those synergies. And there's one more point too. It escapes me at the moment. So don't let anyone talk you out of it. And do all your homework. Understand what your synergies are.
Do you have any closing comments? Any closing thoughts?
Do it. Get started. It's a risk. Take the risk. You just have to do it, and that's the best way to learn. That's the best teacher. Start out small. What I've heard from successful business owners I do have a network now, and we're plugged in, and I have very good cleaners. I have very good construction folks, handyman, and it's taken a while to get there. But we like doing business with each other because they like that I pay them. I like that they're competent and do a fantastic job. And so we, stay together. And if they refer someone, we have that implicit trust. It's fantastic. Shoot, where am I going with that? Closing comments. So getting started is how you get there and how you learn, and you're going to fail. But don't let it stop you. You have to keep getting back up. And if you can keep getting back up, you're not done yet. You're increasing your odds of success. As long as you also keep learning. You have to learn from your failures. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to analyze yourself. And life's not fair. It just isn't. Karma is not a magical scorekeeper. And I'll tell you what, if it is, then that means every bad thing that happens to you, you deserve. So if you believe in karma, all that bad stuff was something you did. Doesn't mean that you're going to get back at somebody. No, it's something you've already done. You deserve that. But karma's not a magical scorekeeper. Life is not fair. And when you start to understand, doesn't mean you don't have to be fair. I found that being honest and being fair in my dealings and being upfront and setting expectations, paying my contractors, that pays dividends. So it's all long term. So being a landlord for the long term, that's how I've gotten all my business in life. So the folks, I don't have a lot of friends, but I have a high quality of friends. And I'll tell you what, I had a couples therapist tell me to lower my standards. No, I'm not. I could have more friends, but I don't want more friends. I want the friends I have, the high quality friends. So don't lower your standards in business. Just because everyone else is unfair doesn't mean you have to be unfair. You can have win-win-win scenarios, right? If everyone wins in a contract, they're going to love doing business with you again in the future. They're going to think of you in the future, or you just at least have a better chance. So just be honest in everything you do. Do your homework, and believe in yourself. Don't let anybody talk you out of your vision. You see it because it's meant for you. So go for it.
That is good advice. Thanks for sharing your story, and I wish you the best.
Okay.